is up, Wheelers? Welcome to the Lightbars and Lockers podcast, the Jeep podcast where we talk about badass builds, answer your questions, and talk about ways to beef up your ride. I'm Paul with JeepBeef, and as always, I've got Ryan Stoangi from Combat Off-Road. And today we have a special guest,
Special guests.
multiple guests.
Multiples.
Joining us on the show is Steve and Michelle Vance, owner-operators of JK Land, Georgia's largest custom Jeep and truck shop. Hey, thank you both for being here. Really appreciate it. How's everyone doing tonight?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. All right. Well, let's start high level because JK Land. I was introduced to you all actually at Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion. In particular, you all were across from where Combat was, and the thing that made you stand out the most was the engine, the sounds of the engine.
You couldn't talk to anybody, could you?
Right?
No, I was trying to hawk parts, and it's just like, wah! Right. I said to take money out of the hands and nod and send them on their way.
Yep.
I was gonna say that was the most important thing because I wanted to talk about that. That was a pretty epic build. What was that? As a Hemi, right?
That is the 6.2 Hellcat.
The Hellcat, nice.
700 horsepower plus.
That's insane. And what platform was that in?
Believe it or not, it was in a Sport S. The only thing we got was power windows, and everything else was as basic as you could get it. It was May of 2019. The Gladiator just released, and I wanted to get our hands on one. And luckily, we bought one of the only ones on the lot. And I've got some really killer before-after photos of that little baby Jeep rolling in.
That's amazing. We'll actually have to throw that up in the show notes because
I'll send it to you.
I should have thought about that because they were. It's an insane Gladiator. It was badass. It sounded badass. It was, and you drove it out at night, yeah.
Yeah, it was. That's just pretty much my daily driver now.
Yeah, that's right awesome. On. Yeah, every night I remember it was like going by. I was like, wow, yeah.
I know Scotty Jones likes to borrow it.
He likes to borrow it and break it. So if he's watching,
it's funny. I think he said that when he was on the show that he borrowed it and broke it. Right? Didn't he?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. Dion says, "What's up, guys and gals?" Hey, Dion, thanks for joining us. Dion? Rusty says, "Howdy, howdy." What's going on, Rusty? Everyone else, feel free to say hey. If you have questions for either Steve or Michelle, feel free to post them up. If you're in Georgia and you've been to JK Land, even better, let us know how awesome their service is. We hear great things. So with that said, let's talk about like the beginning. So JK Land, tell us a little bit about the two of you and how you got it started, when you started it, all that fun stuff.
We're just regular people working regular jobs, and I think we both wanted to do something bigger. The American dream, start a small business, and we talked a lot about it. We didn't know exactly what we wanted to do, but we definitely wanted to get into the small business world and kind of get out of the rat race of corporate America. And I don't know, we were. I've always been an enthusiast for automobiles, and we had owned a Jeep for several years before that. And, I just love the art of building. And, Michelle has kind of been on board with me. She would help me when we got our Jeep and literally wrenching together in the garage. Before that was Mustangs and all sorts of other hot rods, kind of was the beginning. But, what else was it, Michelle? We were sitting around and, honestly, just kind of playing around some ideas.
Yeah, well, we went to a Jeep event and we thought, oh gosh, wouldn't this be kind of fun? I mean, to have a Jeep, to be able to have a shop, to be able to go to these events and do all this kind of cool stuff. And so when the opportunity presented itself, we purchased a Jeep and we were having some concerns as to its rideability. Every time we put something on it, it seems like something else happened to it. So we really struggled a little bit to get the right mix of what we wanted. And so we just visited some different areas and we were like, you know what? This looks really fascinating to us. So that's kind of how it all started.
Did you guys have to relocate, or were you from that area originally? Or
we live here.
Yeah, we live about 15 minutes from the shop.
Okay.
Yeah, we said Georgia, but where in Georgia are you?
The building is in Paulding County, but we reside in Douglasville, Georgia, which is just about 20 miles west of downtown Atlanta.
All right, cool. So that's a pretty central location. That I mean, obviously for the state.
Yeah, it is, and it's incredible the folks that come to us from across the state. I guess we can touch on that a bit later, but it was a kind of a magical thing that happened. I mean, when we were talking about doing it, it almost like it just lined up for us. The building, became available. We saw it. We saw immediate opportunity to redesign it because it was not built for what we do. It was a warehouse. Oh. And it was just a great starting place. It was able to give us a good running start. We literally bought the building in July of 2018 and opened it up on
December.
Black Friday on that year.
November, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's pretty quick.
So you all are actually fairly new. I mean, really, in the grand scheme of things, like
we're starting our 4th year now.
That's amazing. Well, that's okay. So that's amazing. You've come quite far in quite a short period of time. Then
we've had a lot of help, and along the way, and that's probably clearly how we have been successful. Ed is a great friend of ours. He's a brand ambassador. He's been working with us for a couple of years, and as a customer is how he started. But he really enjoys the partnership and the time that we spend together. And it's been a lot of people like that, to be honest. There's been a great number of people in the community that, have just met us and really felt like they were excited about the shop and what we do here. And we do a lot of giving back to a community, and so there's been some interesting personalities across the last 3 or 4 years that have kind of helped us along the path, and we're still got a long ways to go. Believe me, every day I work here, I know that.
Right on. That's awesome. That's the best part about this community, though, right? Like the Jeep community as a whole it's the thing. It seems like I've heard so many, because I think Battle Frog was the same sort of story. Definitely my story is similar. It's like you go to a Jeep event and you get bit by this bug. Like, it's great community, the family like atmosphere, and then it's like, hey, I just want to be part of this. Like, there's something I can do, and then so many awesome people that give back and what have you. Sorry, Ryan, you were going to say something.
Oh no, I was just wondering, like, what do you guys do in the community? Like, what are your favorite things to do? Like events or like sponsorships or different? Like, do you guys stay all in state, or do you guys go out of state and try different shows and events, or you just kind of keep to Georgia or like a proximity?
Well, for community, we're definitely involved in veterans groups. You guys mentioned Scotty Jones, one of the founders of American Warrior Garage. I think the first year? We hadn't been in business long, and we practically built Scotty's Jeep. Donated a lot of time and labor, and Scotty was a part of that too. And that was part of his brand. It was his Jeep. And then we've done other events with other veterans groups, and so that's probably one of our cores is working with veterans. But we also are animal lovers, and Michelle got us hooked up to, who was it, IWAG?
Life is Lab IWAGs, who does dog rescue and training and boarding. So we support a couple different farms and some like traveling baseball team members, and then we have a mountain bike team for Paulding County that we support. So it's kind of a different mix of different areas that we support.
The mountain biking crew is fun because they twice a year they do a Jeep wash at the shop, and the way our building's laid up, we can squeeze about 100 Jeeps here, and they're there washing Jeeps. It's a fun environment, and and the folks are donating money and to help out the mountain biking crew, and they've got a nice trailer now we kind of helped them set up with, and so that's a big part of what we're in business for too, is giving back to our community. So
sure, yeah, that's awesome. I know I had somebody who I was speaking with. I think it was Tara, her name Virago on Instagram. I don't know if you remember or not, but she had a problem, and she had mentioned, she said that she had, I think, had talked to you, but definitely someone at JK Land, and was just like insanely blown away with like how detailed and how like really good the customer service was. So a little bit too far for what her problem was. I think it was a steering kit at the time. So she's in Pennsylvania, and she was just like, oh, it's just too far to get to. But like the level of customer service, which I think, I've heard of you halfway around the world, right? Like, I mean, it's not maybe halfway around the world.
This is up, Paul. This is kind of straight up.
But I'm just saying, you know, like it's a small world, the Jeep community, and I've heard great things in terms of customer service. So I suppose that, you know, it reflects that and how quickly you've grown.
One of the things I noticed as a kind of a before the business, we would go to places, and being a busy person, sometimes I would ask for some help at other places. And the first thing we noticed always was there was this front entrance, and then you did not see what was going on behind the scenes. It was the restriction. It was like a restricted zone, if you will. And do not enter. And we never liked it. It just didn't feel right. I'm giving thousands of dollars to somebody to do whatever it was at the time, a project. And they were just this, you know, can I go back and see my vehicle? No, it's kind of insurance regulations and all that.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's been honestly one of the foundations, I suppose, is if you can't see our building, but there's actually a live tour on jkland.com, but literally there are windows everywhere. And the idea is let's connect our customer to the technicians and to our unique build experience, because we all know Jeeps are our babies. It's like, you know, that's how we see them, and we want good things for them, and we want to know they're in a safe zone. And so that's been a very big part of the company. When people come here, they really are wowed, I suppose, because they don't normally see that, and that's something that's unique. So it's a lot of Jeep shops around, and they all have their thing. And I think transparency is probably one of our number one foundations for what we do, good or bad.
Yeah,
it happens.
Awesome. I'm legit just taking the tour right now.
Yeah, I saw a lot of pictures over the last couple of years. I think, the layout's great. The store is really nice and sharp and clean. And
I'm like literally on it right now.
And it's a very good size too.
If somebody goes now, it was done, 3 years ago?
Yeah, we're due to get a new one.
And, you know, the layout's the same, but, you know, we have definitely filled the retail space, because we do have about 3,000 square foot of true retail where you can walk in and be inspired by product. But the other 2/3 is the shop. And it is full right now. We've got more lifts, more people working, more projects. And we've, you know, even evolved into a lot more that I guess we can talk about.
Yeah, I was just going to go there next, in fact.
I was really interested to hear about the new car dealership style purchasing through you guys.
Yeah, that's so the idea is this. So anyone that's bought a Jeep, you usually buy it in one of two ways. You go to a Jeep dealership and they have one on the lot, and you fall in love with it, and it's the best thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Or you buy one secondhand from somebody that also you like it, but you also think there's a lot more that you can do with it. Dealerships typically put the most least expensive parts they can find and charge you an exorbitant amount, like a $10,000 probably the average I've seen, because we've done our research, and you know, we're basically looking at a set of wheels and a set of tires and a very basic lift kit. Mm-hmm. And so what we're offering is the ability to literally buy a new Jeep through us. We've connected to a dealership that allows me basically to be an employee. I can log in to their portal, customize the Jeep to your specs, and we kind of help consult. We know some of the best options to order, some of the ones that maybe aren't good to get because we want to do custom leather. So let's not spend extra money on leather packets, because we already know you want to do some exotic stitching or some fabrics. And then part of that we can finance in the build. So let's say you've got a $15,000 or $20,000 build. We want to finance that in, and then you've got one loan. Jeep gets delivered, we build it, and then you take ownership of it day one, exactly how you envisioned it. So that's the experience that we're really excited about. I think it's very unique and kind of one of a kind in our industry.
Absolutely. That's amazing. There's so many people we hear. I'm sure Ryan hears it a lot more than me, but when anecdotally, when I talk to my friends or even on social media, I see it all the time. Mm-hmm. People are buying direct from the dealership, whether, we talked about it before, the Sasquatch package from the Bronco, for example. And the reason they're buying it is because they're like, well, we want the warranty on it, right? Like, or we want to finance it together. I'd rather just get it done and installed and don't have to deal with, somebody else. They can just drive it off the lot. So it sounds like that's you're sort of filling that need within the community. I think that's a great.
Is it just a single dealership that you're working with?
We are with one dealership. It's an Indiana dealership. We find it's difficult for some dealers to kind of open up to this concept. Guess they want to keep maybe they want to keep the project for themselves, or I don't know. It's definitely a niche thing for a dealer to kind of work with us like that. But we have found one, and they share in the I guess that excitement, enthusiasm of building custom. And that's probably what is part of it. Their DNA is they're custom as well. If they're not just building, selling run-of-the-mill Jeeps. They are actually also selling custom Jeeps, but it's just not local to us. So, yeah.
Yeah, we do that similarly with my other business. I own Off-Road Addiction. I have multiple stores, and that was where I first started. Not like this show's not about me, but anyways, but I have I have outside sales reps that go and target all the dealers. When we service like over 400 car dealers, and we build all 400 different dealerships through across all the brands. And we pick up and deliver even in different provinces. Like we'll drive anywhere and pick them up and drop them off. I got a bunch of different trucks and trailers that run. So even if you ever wanted to just chat about that model, like I've been doing that for 18 years.
Yeah, it seems to be a hard nut to crack for sure. We wanted to do it locally, but they just weren't open, about that idea. So we partnered up with our America's Most Wanted team in Michigan. Yeah. They're also a group that uses this dealership. So, networking, and that's something about this business Michelle and I both have found is, and it shouldn't be a surprise, but you got to have a good network. So many folks are willing to help. You just got to also be willing to give it back. Totally. And that's been the thing that's probably helped us grow as quick as we have, is having a really good, solid base of a network. Because people talk,
Absolutely, right.
It's not true that people just talk about the bad stories anymore. They really talk about the good stories too.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And then even if there's something bad that happens, you have that opportunity to become a hero, right? You can save the day, rescue that customer. And the worst thing they can say about you is that this happened, but they freaking went another way and they solved it. You know what I mean? So very interesting that way.
So when you sell the Jeep, is like, how does the process work? Do I walk in and it's like a completely custom, I say, like I want this set of shocks, or do you have packages like predefined?
Well, right now we are a highly customized shop. I have enough vehicles on property where we use it to inspire. Michelle's got an amazing bikini blue Jeep, and she could go on for a long time talking about her Jeep and like me, but a lot of people see it, and we are literally today building almost a clone of her Jeep in a different color. It's a 392 edition that the owner came in and just loved this Jeep. And although he didn't buy the Jeep through us, it works the same though. The package, we would customize it to the customer's likings. And again, get to pick your own shocks out. But, we have to be careful because, for us, I think we're curators of all these products. We're highly made in USA, Canada, companies. So we're helping them select some of the better products. And then at the outcome is a Jeep that's really customized to their likings and, their vision, not like the dealership wants to build for them. And I think that's part of this experience. But yeah, and when it gets delivered here, we build it, and then about 3 weeks later they come pick it up, and then they are now the owner of it. And
that's sick. That's awesome. That's that sounds like a lot of fun all around. It sounds like fun for the purchase experience, and it sounds like fun for you all as well.
We've got 3 right now on our lot. That's exactly what's happened. They just showed up last week, and they're all very similar. They did their own different wheels, different lifts, but different, like one's doing leather and the other's just more external stuff and lift kit whatnot. But it's working out really well. It's just I think there's a bigger opportunity to do this more often. It's hard to get the word out. It's really hard to get the word out. So I appreciate you guys bringing that up tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I think, it's the thing. I think a lot of people probably are in the boat of where they, it's like, where do I go? And hard to find also, right? So,
and the payment thing's nice too, right? Like if you can put it on like a car level, percentage financing and get that all that one payment in one spot, right? And then save your cash or save your line of credit for other things, right? So, yeah, I find
we even financed a Hemi customer.
Oh, really? You finance them? I need you to finance me a Hemi.
Yeah, we can roll it in there, buddy. Just give me a call. We'll take care of it.
Perfect.
That's amazing. Well, speaking of that, so why don't we sort of transition a little bit? You all do Hemis and LS swaps, yeah?
Correct. We do. We've actually been doing the Hemis for 2 years. One of my good friends, Ed, is with us also tonight. He's my very first Hemi customer. And I thought it'd be fun to have him on the show with us tonight to talk maybe a little bit of experience. But
yeah, totally. Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear.
Let's introduce
how does he love it?
Ed.
Yeah, good evening. Well, just going back to what you said about the openness of the shop and just the ability to see what happens behind the walls, if you know what I mean. It's very comforting just to walk in here. And of course, the customer service, as we all know, is critical. So hard to find these days, but it is critical to a successful build, in my opinion. And as Steve just mentioned, I had a 2014 Jeep Wrangler that I bought brand new. I had been working on it for about 7 years, and I had not done the swap, and I started to have some issues with the engine. And what we ended up doing, I heard about this place called J.K. Lynn. Who the heck is J.K. Lynn? And I started asking some questions. And, word of mouth is more critical than any advertisement you can put out there. So, so I started talking to people. And I showed up here one Saturday and met Steve, explained to him the issues I was having with the Jeep. And I believe I was here probably about 3 or 4 hours talking.
Yeah, I'm a big talker. I'm a guilty.
Nice.
But the interesting thing, I had always had hope to put a Hemi in my Jeep someday. I just expect it to be after 56,000 miles, which is when my engine failed in the 2014 JK. So it was a little that aspect of it was a little disappointing, but at the same time, it opened up a huge opportunity for not only me but for Steve. And as we talked about options and different things that day, I believe I ended up getting a deposit that day.
Wow. You're hot on the trot there. Yeah, that's good.
He was fed up with what he had.
I was having so many problems. I was actually ready to sell the Jeep, and I really loved my Jeep, but the aggravation just was getting to be not worth it. So, anyway, Steve, we, since I was his first customer, it took a little while, before we got the engine in and finding time to lead the Jeep with him for a few weeks. But that finally happened. But from there, we went on to just build a tremendous machine.
Awesome.
Not only did we do the Hemi swap, but we did body work,
suspension, body work,
suspension, wheels, tires. We just went all out.
Hydro assist steering.
Yeah, hydro assist steering.
All the goodies.
Yeah,
Awesome.
It was, and unfortunately, I realize now when I walk into the place, I just bring my checkbook because you'll probably see something here I want to do.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's awesome.
But it's been an awesome experience.
Awesome.
So you've been using it, or is it mostly daily driver? Or you get to take it off road a little bit?
It was my daily driver. Actually, I'm working on my next project. I actually sold that Jeep.
Okay.
And because I've always been so jealous of Steve's Gladiator, I bought a Gladiator. So we're looking at some options for that now, although we haven't started on it because I literally just got it about a month ago, 2 months ago.
Oh, well, you've had it too long. Let's go. Yeah, well, why torture yourself, man? Get it in.
I'm a lot more educated than when I first got into the Jeep world.
So now you need the Hellcat motor. There's no question, right? Yeah, that's it. You're not gonna mess around this time, right? No Hemi, you need the Hellcat.
I couldn't agree with you more. I would love to put a Hellcat in that sweetheart, but again, right now we're just discussing options. I'm looking at other Jeeps. I'm getting ideas, and at some point, the whole thing will come together, and we'll take it from there.
Right on, man. That'd be really cool. What colors?
The worst thing anybody can do is just rush into this, because what you're going to end up doing is, in another year or two, you're going to say, "Oh man, I wish I didn't do that," and you're going to start all over again.
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
Sage advice.
Yeah. What color is it? I'm always curious about people's colors.
Mine is Gecko
green.
Oh,
nice.
killer,
all the way.
That's
oh, dude. Yeah.
same color as your JK, right?
For off-road addiction, I got a 2012 JK that's gecko green,
and
I bought it in 2012. Yeah,
and it's been well used, and he posted up a picture a couple weeks ago, and it looks brand new. Like, it looks amazing. That color actually does really well.
I think it's time to reinvigorate that little JK, and I've got a 6.4 Hemi with your name on it.
Oh, I gotta do the combat stuff.
Christina's gonna be loving life right now.
I gotta put in the combat stuff. So either like the Gladiator or my JL. Then we'll start talking peanuts. Then we'll figure it out.
I'm curious if so. You opened the store late 2018. JK Land, is that one? Do you now wish you called it JL Land, or is it? Were you planning on? I'm just curious, or were you planning on just like working on JKs, or does it have nothing to do with that at all?
Originally, it did. When we first looked at, in general, we wanted to open up a successful business, and there's I think 6 million JKs. Probably right. You're probably correct me, but it's a very high concentration of JKs that were made from 2007 to 2018.
Right.
And that was our, going in, we wanted, a group of vehicles that we could really, hit home runs with. But I'm telling you, before we even opened the building officially, we had JLs coming to us.
Is there?
Right.
And of course, we weren't going to say no, and we never intended to say no.
Right.
And sometimes now we, kind of like tongue in cheek, will say, well, it's really just custom land, or
right.
There you go.
Jeep Candy Land.
Oh, I like that one. That one's awesome.
But we clearly don't just do JKs. As a matter of fact, we now say we cover all the J's, because we went backwards, and TJ owners started coming to us. We've got a lot of YJ owners.
Wow.
Matter of fact, one of my best friends drives a YJ that we built together here out of the shop, and it's an amazing YJ. Shout out to Dan Cohen out there in podcast land. But so and of course we do trucks, we do SUVs. But Jeep's definitely a passion for ours, and but I'm looking for a Bronco. So
there you go. I bought one.
Yeah, boys.
They're cool, dude.
I am a Ford guy too. That's kind of one of my long-term backgrounds, being a Ford person. Michelle has a Ford Mustang, so why not, right? Love to see what the Black Bronco platform is going to do, and see.
Oh, they're going to explode, man. You're going to see big things.
I hate to say
we've already built tons of them. I think we built like 30 plus Broncos at our store already. Like at the other off-road addiction, like that's like there's the Jeep. That's with our the combat doors on it though. So those are our full metal jacket, all aluminum doors.
Are those like Mickey Thompson Pro XS tires too?
Yeah, the Pro X, the stickies.
Nice choice.
Yeah, they're pretty fun. So I enjoy it. We enjoy that Jeep, but yeah, you're gonna like the Bronco. I just bought a base manual 2.3 turbo. It works good. We put a basic 3.5-inch rough country lift in it on 37s. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Well, there's a 2-door down the street from me, just with the Sasquatch package on 35s. And it's just badass. Like, it's just
nice.
Yeah.
That's good. 37s?
That's 37s, yeah. With a 3.5. It fits. You just move the crash bars and away you go.
I like it.
So we're doing an all aluminum chase truck light bar, like for combat, like production. And we're doing rock sliders for it, some skid plating. We're gonna do our tail light for it. And so we got a whole bunch of plans, but yeah, they're really hard to get. I had to reach out to my my dealer network and get someone to give me one. It was tough to get.
Yeah, we'll get one eventually. Like I said, I think we bought 2 JKs when we opened up, but it wasn't long. We actually bought a JL because again, we knew that was going to be a hit and everything. So I don't know if I fully answered your question earlier. You asked me about the Hemi and LS, and we kind of touched a little bit about the Hemi.
Yeah.
I got too excited to hear about the other Jeep.
Yeah,
with the Hemi.
You got a nice story from Ed. But yeah, the Hemi program, it has been an incredible program, and it still is. The fit and finish of the Hemi is just amazing. The best compliment I get, and we get a lot of them, is we raise the hood and somebody says, well, when did Jeep start putting Hemis, or when did Jeep start putting Hellcats?
Right.
And, we get to say, well, they don't, we do. And that was, of course, before the 392 came out. But even now, the what we do is a SRT edition of the 392, which is much more raw performance and power than the factory 392 that's kind of detuned a bit. A lot of respect for it, but it definitely is not the same.
What do you do, man? Like, what do you do to the 392 in the shop? What do you guys do?
Well, it is a crate motor, so it's not that we are modifying a 392. It's just that the one that we're using is definitely a open performance mod. You don't get NDS, the displacement system for the cylinders.
Right.
You just get the power, and it feels incredible. And you don't have. It's almost like the 392 that they're building is on training wheels. And there's going to be, of course, aftermarket that comes out, and the training wheels are going to come off of that too. But ours is ready for speed right out of the box. I mean, that's just the way it is. Now, how long have we been doing LSs? Michelle's got the very first one for JK Land. She's got a 2020 bikini blue, beautiful Jeep. Everybody sees that Jeep, can't believe the color's factory, but if you've seen the bikini blue, it really pops. But I don't know if you guys are familiar with a company called Bruiser Conversions in Florida.
Yep, we are. Yeah.
We met Jeff Garland. It's been a journey. These things are relationship building. Jeff introduced himself to us last spring at the Daytona Jeep Beach, and had heard about JK Land, and I was kind of, humbled when he said that, because I knew of his company. He's been in business for a long time doing this, and he says, "Man, your brand is who we want working with us." And we kind of just phone tagged it for a while, and then he came up to the shop last October and brought some beast, a Whipple supercharged Gladiator, and I think it was which one was it? I think it was just the LS3, but it was souped up with some cams, and he came out heavy hitting.
Yeah.
And, he shows up and was just excited to be here, met the team, and I was kind of like, whoa, I'm not sure I'm ready for all this, but and I'm not, it's funny, I'm a Ford guy, but then I see this Corvette motor, I'm like, I don't know, do I want to put vets in my Jeeps?
Right.
But we've had a number of customers who have said that, hey, I'm a Chevy guy, why aren't you putting LSs in Jeeps? And and we were losing out on opportunity. As a small business, we need to grow wherever we can to continue to do what we do. And that was one of the big things. But we didn't just, honestly, clearly for 9 months, we talked about it. It wasn't a rash decision. And that's why we picked who we picked. I think Bruiser has an amazing foundation. Jeff's been doing this for a number of years. And, we've been, so far, he's really supported us. The stupid little questions that come up when we did our first ones that, that may seem stupid, but he answered them. He came up and visited with us and took a lot of time to kind of show us what we didn't know. And now I'm happy that we've got a running, LS and Michelle's Jeep. And since then, we've sold 3 others, and one of which is a 750 horsepower Whipple supercharged.
Awesome.
We've got 3 big projects we're working on this spring, and that's only one of them. I think we've got another LS and a JK 2-door, and we're working on what's called the LX3, which is a 550 horsepower naturally aspirated one for a GenRight Elite conversion we're doing in
Nice. That's right. That's what I was talking about. Remember, I couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah.
That was
pretty. Those are
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah, that's not bad.
So do you guys percentage a certain amount of the shop to quicker scalable jobs versus long-term projects? Do you guys float it like that, or you just we just do what we got to do kind of thing?
We've got, I'd say we try to quarantine an area, if you will. Like we had a 2011. I know it may sound strange, but the owner wanted us to restore his 2011 nut and bolt down to the frame.
Wow.
And that's a long-term project. And the Jeep, we had it on casters and we set it off in the corner. And so that's where it kind of lived for a while. Meanwhile, because, these long-term projects take a while to pay. And so you need some smaller jobs to keep going. But we've got a good diverse set of racks that we can kind of bump around, and we are blessed in the extra space that we have, and we find ways to use it. We've got tires and pallets of material and engines and all that to kind of fill some of the spots. But yeah, we've got a few dedicated lifts that are for more routine work, and then a couple that are more for long-term project work.
Awesome.
Might find
Very
some
cool.
tires.
Yeah.
In where?
They're
bathroom?
Everywhere.
They're tires. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure you guys live this, but in this business right now, getting parts is probably the most difficult part about operating a business that you could imagine.
Oh yeah.
So if somebody's got a set of 37-inch Nitto trail grapplers or ridge grapplers, you best be buying about 15 of them and figure out where you want to put them.
Yeah, like the cat. I know that. Yeah, totally. Like from our standpoint too. Like as soon as something comes in, we snatch them. Yeah, it's been really interesting for cash flow and distribution of funds, right? Like you're like, oh my God, do I want to spend $60,000 on all these tires right now? But I should only really spend $10,000, and you're like, oh fuck, just in case, right? Yeah, we feel it on the retail side, like you guys for off-road addiction for sure. It's we're in the same kind of pain point that way for sure. And then where you got, $10, $20, $50,000 bills, and you need like a shock, to complete the job or something, right? And they're just sitting there dying, or just. We had a guy 18 months he waited for a brand new Chevy pickup, and we finally got it. And I had the kit for 18 months because he ordered it, and we figured they said 4 to 6 weeks for the truck, and then it ended up being 18 months. Just sat on it for 18 months. And the day it was there, I sent my delivery team down basically to Toronto to go get it and get it done for the guy, right? But there's a lot of that. We still got tons. We have folders of jobs to be booked, like just waiting
on key parts
or the vehicles to land, one or the other.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's really,
Daniel says,
really interesting.
Sorry to interrupt. Daniel says he needs an LS for his YJ.
Well,
have you done an LS YJ?
We have not internally, but one of the guys that works for us that relocated from Cincinnati actually has. He's got an LS in his YJ. So shout out to Andy.
All right. There you go, Daniel. I don't know where you are, but
just make a trip.
There's no better place to be than JK Land.
Treat yourself, sir. Get over there.
Robert says, Dan, we're only 5 minutes away. I'm gonna get one. Oh, never mind. I got it. Okay, he's answering Dan. I got it.
Yeah.
Sorry, it takes me a minute. All right, cool. Yeah, that's pretty sweet though. So out of curiosity, you've got a Hemi, and Michelle, you have an LS. Do you guys like
race
drag
or
race?
what?
Like who wins?
You're gonna put a.
We did it.
It's hard to find enough road to race those bad boys on.
Right on. Now, out of curiosity, which do you prefer both personally? I'm going to put you guys on the spot.
Oh.
And which do you prefer to work on? Like, is there one that if someone walked in, do you prefer the Hemi over the LS, or do you it's just whatever preference the person, sort of depending on their needs?
That's a hard question. No question about it. What I have found out is when we did her LS, we're using the stock transmission, and it's the 8 speed, and that is only really safe for about 400 horsepower. So Jeff, owner of Bruiser, said, I don't want you to break that. I want you to have a good experience, so that we can do demos, because we do a lot of demos. And so it's kind of hard to compare, to be honest with you. I learned that probably the hard way is comparing hers to like the Hemi SRT. It's really not a good comparison, because hers was not built for more than 400 horsepower. It's very capable of almost 800 horsepower, but that's not how hers was built. And so I don't know, to answer your question, the jury's still out. We had a fun time with the LS. It was much quicker, much more engine bay room. The real estate inside the engine bay, there's a lot more there. The LS probably lends itself more to the client who wants a more custom experience, because we can customize it down to the cams, the exhaust systems. There's a lot you can really do. Which supercharger. We primarily do Whipples, but there's just a plethora of options. Where the Hemi, it works amazing, but it is the Hemi. It's a 6.4 Hemi. It's a 5.7 Hemi. There's a Hellcat and there's a Demon. and they're amazing platforms. And hands off to Jared up at America's Most Wanted for what they do up there, because they essentially are the science and the engineers behind that platform. And we're privileged to be the company in Georgia that installs them for them.
What training do they give you for the Hellcat?
It's the LH85.
Is that like the pickup training?
No, it's the one in the red eye. It's 850 horsepower capable trans.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome.
And you need it. It's The truck has a Dana 80 in the rear. So little story, I like to tell about the Hellcat Gladiator. I really wanted to know what its braking limits was. I wanted to really be like a normal customer myself. So we went up there and put the Hellcat in. And the first thing, I wanted to keep stock axles. And everybody was like, "You're crazy. Why are you keeping stock axles?" I wanted to know what was the breaking point, because not everybody can afford a Hellcat, ton axles, all the other stuff all at once. So I kind of wanted to know. And we kept that truck for about 6 months. And you can watch some videos. I'd done a lot of burnouts, just marketing the Jeep and having a good time. And when I put a straight drive shaft in it, it changed.
Right.
Gliders have a split drive shaft.
Yeah.
Well, when I went to a straight drive shaft, man, it wasn't a week later, we broke the first pinion out of it, ring gear, sorry. And then we thought, well, maybe we didn't torque down the flange well enough, so we re-geared it. 2 weeks later, I think it's when Scotty Jones got it. I think he broke it the second time. So nevertheless, I knew that was time to move, and that's when we went to the next stage, which was the Ultimate Dana 60 and an actual 80 in the rear. I wanted to go straight to the 80 and not fool around with the 60.
We also found out you better secure your fenders because we blew our fenders off.
Is that right?
True story.
Some of the guns off.
When a BMW pulls up beside you and he's revving his little motor, you want to really show what you got. Sometimes your fenders blow off, which literally.
That's insane.
I wish you got that on video.
I was just gonna say that'd be like the best TikTok video of all time, right there.
You guys run 40s on that? Is it 40s on the Gladiator?
Right now we got Maxxis Razor MT 40s.
What gears did you guys toss in the diffs?
488.
488? Oh, cool.
Most people might say, why not the 5s? But we wanted a little bit better gas mileage and economy, but also some top speed.
Yeah, some final drive. Yeah.
Yeah, that 8-speed really likes the 488s.
Oh, that's cool. That's good to know. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. Ryan did something similar. He thought he'd give it a go. And what did you last about 5 minutes off-roading and shattered the entire.
Oh, that's because I put 41.5s on my stock JL axles and I blew the whole disconnect off and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. That was on video though. So
that was on video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sound like gunshot shells falling on the rocks, but it was just all the internal parts of my whole U-joint and everything blew apart everywhere. Yeah, pretty funny.
Someone said hi, Ryan, and that someone is Michigan Jeep Girl.
Oh, what's up?
Yeah, Ryan. Hi, Ryan. Fuck you, everyone. No,
I know.
Excuse me.
I know there's going to be like.
Hi, Ryan. Yeah, that's funny. Oh, no, that's awesome though. That's a great story. I like that.
So, how many Jeep shops do you guys visit? Do you guys visit a lot?
For combat off-road, we're just kind of getting started on the B2B stuff. Yeah. So our plan is campaigning. That's where we want the most of is shop partnerships. And we're going to do a lot of things like this, promote the shops on our podcast and, help out with any kind of events that we can and, keep our stuff in the whole national Jeep community, helping out all the veteran stuff and doing different things like that.
I was just wondering, there's something that I don't know, we didn't talk about earlier, but I think there's another unique aspect to our shop. And somebody approached me about it a while ago. The community of Jeepers, not everybody can afford a Hellcat and not everybody can afford a Hemi or a LS. And, there's a lot of Jeepers out there that just needed maintenance. Mm-hmm. And, most people don't trust their dealerships, unfortunately.
Sure.
You know, they have had some experiences. And I've got a gentleman with me, Rob, which is been our service manager for a number of how long has it been now? I can never remember how long it's been. It's been so fun. 9 months. And I think that's something unique that we do here. And I kind of wanted you, Rob, to tell everybody about the maintenance program, if you will.
Yeah, so we noticed that we do a lot of builds and accessories and everything is awesome. And then you hear a comment like, well, I was at Jiffy, I don't want to say their name, but the oil change place.
Speedy guys.
Unnamed oil guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, you know, and it just dawned on us that we should create an entire program around that where the customer can actually see what's going on with their Jeep, what's wrong with it. Like, you know, the oil cooler leak that everybody has to deal with. Well, any customer that's had it has actually gotten to come into our shop, look, they see in there with the light, and I have UV dye. And I've been a service manager for about 25 years. And we hired in some amazing technicians. And it's just worked out really well. You see a lot of stuff on Jeeps that's not right, but the people are so obsessed with getting them accessorized and getting them bigger and better and bigger and better. And they don't realize that when they bought it at a dealership, they didn't put any sort of upgraded steering on it. They just left it the way it was. So then we're blowing ball joints, U-joints, all the tie rod bushing. So we created an entire maintenance and repair program where we brought in legitimate diagnosticians that can go through their computer system, go through all their wiring, you know, for some of those harder to find cylinder 1 or 5 problems, that sort of stuff. And then just regular maintenance. So we made it to where now JK Lane can do everything from an oil change and a tire rotation to genetically modifying a Jeep. We are full blown. We can do everything. So we created that program. It's been amazing. It's actually, you asked earlier about filling in work and what percentage you have. So we actually have a dedicated guy that this is all he does. And he's yet to have a slow day since he started.
That's great.
He was working late tonight. So
yeah, that was the door you heard. He left it about.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Wait when we were starting there.
Yeah,
he made sure you heard it, so he marked his time down.
That's right.
Right?
Like,
Steve, did you hear that?
Yeah. I'm leaving.
That's awesome. No, that's great. And you're right. I think that a lot of people, especially because Jeep people know their Jeeps, right? They either like really know them and can wrench on them and probably know more than a lot of the people at the dealership, which I find all the time. You know, you'll take something in, you're like, pretty sure it's this. And I'm by no means a mechanic. I'm the first one, like, you know, I'm much more comfortable with, you know, computers and websites and things like that. But I'm intelligent enough to, you know what's happening with the Jeep. And, you know, you'll walk in and say, you know, I think this is the problem. Plus, you know, I have people like Ryan and many other people I could ask about, Tim over at TMR. But a lot of times they're like, oh, well, we're not sure. We're just going to throw the little machine on it, right? And if it throws a code, then then we can fix it. But if it doesn't throw a code, we have no idea what's happening, right? So I think there's a lot of people who don't trust the dealership. One, because it's hard sometimes, I think, to trust them that they're being honest. But other times they're not knowledgeable, right? Like you all, this is your thing. Like you guys know this inside and out. I would much prefer, even if it is an oil change, take my Jeep to somebody who builds Hemis, Hellcats, LS Swaps, you know, to do my
even
oil
just
change.
if it has skid plates on it, like you get the regular dealership guys, like, I don't know how
and they
I don't know how
dump it all
to change
over,
that.
right?
There's a giant piece of metal under here. What is this?
Can you put it back in factory? Then I'll take a look at it.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's crazy, right? They're like, oh my god.
Yeah, who was it? Somebody.
They're going through the service manual. How do I take off this piece of metal?
Exactly, right? So
we actually have local, you know, to the southeast dealerships that will call us for advice on Jeeps that are built. They have no clue how to work on them or what to do with them.
Totally. Yeah.
Right.
Actually, Chrysler dealerships calling us looking for advice.
Yeah, we do that. Like for off-road addiction, we pick them up. Like they'll come in and just someone bought something used and went to the dealership, and they just don't know what to do. So we go get them on the trailers and stuff and bring them to our shop. Like anywhere, like it could be like an 8 to 10 hour round trip. You know, they're like, come get it. You know what I mean? So we come get them all the time. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's interesting. You know, they're mostly plug and play, service your brakes. You know what I mean? Read all the little TSBs and see you later, right?
And we're mixing in. So customer comes in with a tie rod. We're not just saying, hey, we'll replace your tie rod. We're saying, hey, why don't you consider an upgrade?
Right.
Yeti Steer Smarts is an amazing product. For just a little more money, you can really beef up your suspension and your steering. Sure. And so most people really appreciate that. They can't get that from the dealership experience. They just can't.
Totally. Or even be able to diagnose and say, well, like this happened because you've upgraded your wheels or whatever the case may be. You can give that explanation as to why it happened. Yeah. And hey, by the way, it's going to happen again.
Yeah, totally. You put an extra 85 pounds of corner on, you're going to dust those ball joints. Like, let's upgrade.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas the dealership's going to be like, hey, this part number for this VIN number, there's the ball joint, there's the ball joint, there's the ball joint, over and over again, right? And then people just get frustrated.
Yeah. Exactly.
Sure.
Question, how? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say alignments is another big business because a lot of people put lifts on, or they'll put them on themselves, or a dealership puts them on, and they put like a 4.5, 5-inch lift, and they don't when they hook up to their hunters, it comes up with the stock specification of 4.5 for caster, and they don't realize that they have to add cat. They just don't know.
Oh yeah, 7, 8 degrees all day. Yeah, that's what you want. Nice and lazy.
7 or 8 where you want to be. So
yeah.
It's just that's just one of the things that we're lucky to have some experienced guys back here that can kind of dial that in for us.
Yeah, there's definitely a demand for that, right? For sure.
So, question of the day is 4xe. Have you worked on them much? Where do you sit with the 4xe?
We had one in. The client is actually a good customer, Bernardo. He did a Hemi swap, and he bought his wife one, thinking it was going to be the end all be all for them, but it really wasn't. And I to be honest, I was a little disappointed in the performance of it because I think, what was it, 25 miles? The rate, you can only get 25 miles on a charge. Yeah. And when you factor in that the engine that now is taking over doesn't perform as well as a traditional engine, gas-powered engine, the fuel economy doesn't really make sense.
Right.
And, the only thing that really makes sense, at least in the States, was they did get a decent deduction on their taxes for having a smart vehicle. But he promptly kept it for 3-4 months.
3-4 months.
Yeah. There wasn't a lot of options for lift kit manufacturers because, we got different weights on that vehicle. Spring rates need to be changed. I think there's Metal Cloak may have one, and maybe Clayton Off-Road. I'm not sure, but there's just not much support out there yet either. But I mean, I think Jeep's going to get it right. They're going to come out with a version 2 that they've got to have something that has at least 100 to 150 miles on the range. Right. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense.
Maybe they'll partner with Musk and make a crazy one.
Right?
Yeah, you never know, right? That'd be cool.
That'd be all right.
A portal axle hybrid Jeep. Yeah, Wrangler. I can see it coming from.
There you go. That's right.
There you go.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's like anything, right? If you look at the first iPhone or iPad or whatever, it's total shit compared to today. It's like, so I mean, you build on it, get better, right? Yeah, exactly. So I mean, we talked about it a couple shows ago. In Europe, they're by next year, I think they're no more a gasoline engine. The entire lineup's going to be electric or hybrid.
I'm not ready for it.
Right? It's crazy, right?
93 octane running through my veins. I'm not ready.
Right?
I know.
I swear though that it's
I don't want my Jeep to sound like my laptop right now. You know what I mean?
Or not.
Depressing, right? It's pretty depressing.
But it's the gas prices though. I mean, that's what's getting people. Like even for me, I personally, I have the turbo, the 4-cylinder. I love it. I do. I love it. I think it's super. It's quick compared to my JK. I've got the Taser JL in there, and it just I love it. So, but the thing I love about it the most is for a Jeep, it has amazing gas mileage, amazing. And I find that a lot of people, I think that's what entices them with the 4xe. It's like, the idea is like it's hybrid, and
they don't even look into it. They just think because it's hybrid that it's good, and it's
that's the thing, right? But then exactly right. You get into it, and it's not really maybe.
So, Paul, do you have a throttle controller on your turbo?
Just the Taser. Which sort of axe?
We owned a JL with a turbo in it, and you need to pick up an Ultimate 9, which is the basically it plugs into your throttle and it gives you instant access to your throttle. And in a turbo like you have, it is a night and day experience from what you'll get when you turn that baby on. It's got a setting from 1 to 9, and we usually keep them on setting U3 or 4. And when you press the pedal, you have instant access to the power. It's not like you're not getting more horsepower. You're just getting access to that throttle.
I know exactly what you mean, because there is a little bit of a
you're gonna get a lag, a
little bit of a lag.
It's a percentage of throttle over the actuation of the pedal, right? So you're fooling the computer with that programmer to tell you like at 20% throw, you're getting 70% throttle, right? So it's pretty cool for sure.
It is.
That's amazing.
I tricked Ed one time, so we built his badass Hemi, and where were we at? It was an event.
It was
Panama City.
City.
It was Panama City Jeep Beach, and we surprised him and installed one of these devices in his Jeep, and the reaction on him was like, "What the?"
That's awesome.
That's hilarious.
Well, the story in front of that was funny because I'm walking around the event with my wife and my alarm goes off. Like,
we broke into his Jeep. We really
that's the best way if you're gonna have your Jeep broken into.
That's the best.
That's the best way you could go. Best outcome.
It was amazing.
That's awesome.
First it was the Hemi, and then it was the Ultimate 9. Holy crap!
There you go.
Mistakenly.
Yeah, because it does lag a little bit, especially on the highway. There's been a few times where, because it has great pickup once it picks up, right? So there's been a few times where I'll just hit the gas because I need to go, and I'm like, I got 37s, like, and I'll just hit the gas, and when it goes like stink, like,
it's a ramp up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good thing, and it's also great for off-road. It's got a mode that actually does the opposite, and when you do that, it's called economy mode. It actually adds in delay. So when you're in 4x4 load, the Jeep's very jerky, and it smooths that out and lets you kind of stay on the pedal and transition up an obstacle without having to take your pedal off and maybe break traction. So it's a plug. It's not a plug. These are just tips. It's one of those things when a new customer walks in the door and they you can tell they're brand new to the world of Jeeps. There's about 5 things we try to show them about how to improve their Jeep. We are actually trying to, kind of going through not a technical formal rebranding, but we are trying to market more of a 4x4 motorsports, because it's gotten to be most of what we do is performance, and it could be performance in the engine. It could be performance in the suspension. Could be performance audio, could be all that is really kind of performance. But that's the thing that I really tell folks is you ought to get yourself an Ultimate 9 throttle controller, because it'll wake your Jeep up. Even if you've got a 3.8 V6, or if you've got a 3.6 from the 2nd gen JKs, or a JL, or any of those. And so far, I've never had one return, and most people just smile. It's like the smile device. And so it's kind of fun.
There you go.
That's awesome. That's great. So, what's next? I mean, you mentioned that you were sort of going through a bit of a rebrand on the motorsports side of things. Tell us, where are we going to find you this year? You're heading to some shows?
Yep. So our next show is Daytona Jeep Beach. We were there last year. It was our first official year as being a vendor. Did well. We had Ed and some other clients of ours were there with some of their Hemi Jeeps. This year we're going to have a much bigger presence. Last year we had like a 20x40. I think we got a 20x80. So we plan on bringing the big guns. Michelle's LS Swap Jeep, the Hellcat will be there. I'm hoping we're going to have our Whipple supercharged JL running Fusion axles, 43-inch Mickey Pro X's. It's a big build. We're starting next week. So we're going to have some cool lineups, and it's there to meet everyone and answer questions. But after that, we've got a trick one. We're at the Georgia Jeep Invasion. We just signed up to be their platinum sponsor. It's in Alabama, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It's at a pretty cool venue called Morris Mountain, and we will be at Jeeps and Vines, which is a a vineyard up in North Georgia in June. And we haven't officially, but we know we're going to sign up for the Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion again as well. So
sweet.
We'll round it out in Smoky Mountain, Tennessee.
Nice. Amazing. That sounds like a full year.
Yeah, it is. And we're also running a full shop, and we're wide open.
Right. Yeah. So you don't have much happening, is what you're saying? No.
And we're hiring. So.
Oh yes,
you're hiring, right?
Yes.
What are you hiring for? What are you hiring for again?
We are hiring a salesperson. You know, and that person needs to be a builder at heart, not a seller. They need to be passionate about building. And we're also hiring a technician. You know, we would love to hire somebody that is in the business and in the industry who just is passionate about Jeeps as we are. We find that's our best hire. We have a few that aren't necessarily Jeep enthusiasts, but they've been really good at what they do. But we find the ones who are true enthusiasts, they can set them up. They're more, you know, there's just a little different special sauce there. So, you know, this would be a person who could even start out doing basic stuff with lift kit, wheels, and tires. But we always have a progressive model where we want to teach them to do gears. We want to teach them to do interior electrical work so that they can grow as we grow.
Awesome.
Amazing.
It's a great opportunity for somebody.
Is there an issue like relocating? Like if someone's in a different state, you know, they're like, hey, you know what? I just want to try some, you know, a different place. Is there a challenge with like a mechanic's license? Do you guys require licenses? Or they can sign up as an apprentice, or how does that work down there?
Well, it's really based off the skill set of the individual. We do a fairly thorough, interview process. Some, fairly formal. What we do have a person that literally, it's funny you should say that, relocated from Cincinnati, Ohio. He came down for about 4 weeks and spent some time before Christmas. We got a chance to know him. He got a chance to meet us. And it's working well. And his first official day was last week, February 14th. And now he's down here full time. And
Valentine's Day.
Yep, he was a Valentine's Day special. So yeah, we actually had another person that actually transferred from Orlando, Florida. So if folks are out there looking for a wicked opportunity to really have fun doing a cool job, tell them to reach out to me at vanceman@jkland.com.
For sure, yeah. And if they don't catch that, like, yeah, just let us know and we'll pass it on to Steve and team and let you guys can do your magic.
Cool. All right, what did we miss? Is there anything else that that we want listeners to know about JKland?
Two things.
Perfect.
And again, I think it's very unique in the Jeeping industry is that we have an amazing department where we do audio, custom audio, and custom leather.
Cool.
We have built some. Actually, one was an award winner. Went to SEMA. You know, it was a Jeep that we helped build. Luna Crawler is a pretty famous Jeep in this area, and met a ton of won several contests. And so that was the extreme. But anything from basic, audio, because if you own a JK, I'm sorry that you have the worst audio that you could probably ever have purchased. They're probably a decade behind. So we do a ton of JK audio. We do a ton of lighting, leather interiors. Honestly, sum it up. We are a conversion company, so we do touch every aspect of the Jeep. We don't like putting people out to other places. Even if there's a few things we don't do, we actually take care of it. Like, for example, we don't spray in bed liners, but if we're working with a client and has a project that's going to be here for a week, we'll actually get their bed liner taken care of at a local location and take care of that for them, so they don't have to go to multiple local spots to get their Jeep work done. So,
right.
But yeah, audio and leather is probably something I want people to know because there are stereo shops in town, but again, most people like to have their Jeep work done by Jeep folks. So it works out really nice, and we stay pretty steady with custom audio and leather.
Awesome,
amazing, that's great, good stuff. Yeah, it's super interesting. I honestly, I'm personally interested in the fact that you have been able to come so far so quickly, and I don't know. It just sounds. I want to come hang out, man. It sounds like an awesome shop to just like check out.
We have had some really cool visitors. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Kevin and Brittany from Lightbright.
Yeah, for sure.
Lightbright Studio. They came twice. had a lot of fun. We hung out for a day. We've had Road Rash Off-Road. Holly from Mischief Maker, if you know Holly.
Yeah.
Marvin Stammel, Flex Rocks and Rollovers. He helped us build our website, and we've done a fair amount of work to his Jeepster, maintenance-wise. Nothing big. Don't want to take credit for that badass build, but
yeah, the red one, right? It's red.
Yeah,
it's cool. Yeah, it's super cool.
We've had some crazy story. You won't believe this, but we have a client driving from the state of Washington across the country next month to build his Jeep. Him and his wife are taking a road trip across the country. They're going to stay here for 2 weeks, and we're going to build his JK.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
That's nice stuff to document, right? And throw up and just show people. That's the cool stuff for sure.
Yep. Shout out to Chris Webb out there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. Sorry, Rusty says, what? Jeeps don't break.
Did I talk about fabrication?
No,
you forgot.
I guess fair in all things fair. My new employee, Andy, he's actually the one we just hired, and that's one thing that he brings to our environment that we needed some help on, is just custom fabrication. You can take a Jeep so far, but at some point you really have to get into custom modifications. And Andy's got 25 years of doing this, and so we're real fortunate to have him. But that's going to bring us the ability to take, he's done custom 4-link setups, he's done, custom cages, a lot of custom work. And so when he's touching your Jeep, just know that there's a lot more than we could possibly do. So the custom world is something that's kind of new, and we're gonna ease into that. We've always done a moderate, but he's able to do some extreme customizations. And we're going to kind of see how that goes over the next several months to see kind of how much we want to do too, because it just kind of slows things down a bit.
Totally. This huge time eater for sure.
Yeah. So, but we are excited that we can offer that, because not everybody wants a full custom rig, but maybe they want a custom steering setup, or maybe they want, a custom long arm. Maybe they don't want to do the off the shelf coilover systems. And, he's able to do that. So we're excited about that. The first project that we're going to actually have him do, is actually my Jeep. I've got a 2014, used to be Michelle's. She was lucky I took it from her. She probably didn't really give it to me. But it needs a suspended actuator. So we're going
I think I know where it is.
Where is it?
Rock somewhere.
Yeah. But that's going to be our next kind of journey. You asked me that earlier. I think that's the next big thing is more custom work, more unique one-off builds that continue to kind of separate us from the pack. Because, somebody posted, and it's interesting, where do I take my Jeep to in Georgia? There's a good following of about 12 to 15 Jeep shops in our area. Oh, wow. So, we all have to find out different niche ways to separate ourselves from everybody else. And I think that's one of our biggest thing, is just a full life cycle, I guess, of services, from maintenance to custom interiors to custom fabrication to the Hemis and the LS swaps that we're doing.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. All right. Well,
what's that?
Is there any questions from the group online?
Well, we'll wait a sec. See if anyone has any questions. Fire away. And if anyone has any questions after the fact, or you're listening to this in your Jeep or commuting or what have you, feel free to send the question to podcast@jeepbeef.com, and we'll make sure to pass the questions along, and we'll make sure that either Steve or Michelle gets back to you with the answers.
Yeah. And you guys got Instagram, Facebook. Do you guys do Twitter or anything like that? Or what do you guys got for social media? Or where can everybody find it?
Definitely Facebook. JK Land Jeeps on Instagram. JK Land Jeep Sales and 4x4 Outfitters on Facebook. Those are our two main areas. But you can go to our website, pretty easy, jkland.com, and that'll take you to all the other fun parts out there. What's up, Mike Miller?
Oh, there you go, Mike.
Good to see you. Nice wrap you got on your Jeep. I like what you.
I was just
did
gonna
with it.
say, yeah, that was a pretty
Wow.
sweet wrap. He's got the green with the blue.
It's much
Looks
better
good.
than the first one.
Yeah,
Definitely jumps off the Jeep a lot better for sure.
yeah, looks good. Looked like they had a good turnout. I saw some pictures from last week.
I know. I'm jealous. I wish I could go 4-wheeling every weekend.
One day I think I'll open a vintage 4x4 custom shop and call it Custom Rust Inc. I love it. They'll only build rust buckets. Done.
Oh, there you go.
That's your niche.
That's
Nothing
it.
wrong with that,
Who's doing
man.
that one?
You don't
Right.
weld them. You're gonna have to get epoxy and put them together like Lamborghinis and glue the rust together. That's what you're gonna have to do.
Right. That's right. All right. Well, listen, I want to say thanks so much. I know we're a little bit over time, but that's okay. It was super interesting speaking with you both and learning more about JK Land. If anyone does, like I say, have any questions, feel free to reach out at podcast@JeepBeef.com. Make sure you hit that like button. If you're listening on the old audio, feel free to leave a comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And if you have any questions, or you want to get a Hemi build, you want to get an LS, you want
get
to
over
do
there.
basically anything, and you're passing through Georgia, the place to go is JK Land, 100%.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you coming on. It was great to have a chat, and
Yeah,
that was fun.
we'll
Looking
catch you
forward to
again for sure. All right. Well, thanks again, and we are out.
Take care.